Hello, my name is James Phillips, and today I'll be talking about opium and its portrayal in pop culture as seen today. Opium has a very long history. It comes from a poppy seed plant which grows throughout Southeast Asia and made its way through Egypt and eventually to Europe. Over time, the British desire for Chinese tea led to the East India Trading Company illegally smuggling opium into China in order to get the tea out. Chinese demand for opium increased as addiction rates rises as well. Opium prohibition was then put into act by the Chinese government. Fighting broke out throughout China due to the high demand and low inventory of opium. The same process can be seen in the New Age drug wars that we see across our borders each and every day, especially with countries such as Mexico. Mexico has been known in the last couple of years for their drug cartels and their brutality upon its citizens. Next slide. The way that opium spread throughout China is the exact same way that these new age drugs have spread throughout Mexico. They are used to enslave its citizens by making them addicted to these substances. And it's very sad because of the media in our today's society only process this information when there is a mass casualty, mass beheadings. But in actuality, these things occur each and every single day, less than 70 miles within our own borders. Next, I'd like to talk about the opium pipe itself. Next slide. The opium pipes were made from the very best materials ever known to man: ivory, rhinoceros horn, silver, jewels. And they were not just used for smoking, but a symbol of status and wealth. A wealthy man would have a pipe that was made out of ivory, while a normal citizen would have one made out of wood. These are just a few examples of our modern pipes today used for various kinds of drug intake, which leads me to my next section. The brand new kind of pipe in the e-cigarettes. As you can see, some look just like cigarettes, some even have mustaches on them. E-cigarettes have taken the world by storm, not just a better way to smoke, but a new way to look while smoking. It's still just as harmful as it was in the 50s when smoking was considered cool and our grandparents all did it. Now that we know it's bad, people are even getting more addicted to it because now they have a cool way to smoke it, and it's even more customizable than before.
Morphine, named after the Roman god of dreams Morpheus, was discovered in the early 1800s by Friedrich Wilhelm Serturner. It was designed as an early alternative for opium, and it was supposed to be less addictive and a more powerful pain reliever than opium. Often used in wartime, many soldiers soon became addicted to the drug. Ultimately, morphine has become a Schedule II drug. Morphine is used today much like it was used back then. It is a pain reliever, alters mood, and decreases drowsiness. Morphine, used mainly by injection, works by binding to the pain receptors found in the brain and spinal cord. Then, it decreases the amount of neurotransmitters sent by these neurons, thus decreasing the pain. As more powerful and dramatic alternatives such as heroin exist today, morphine is usually depicted in a historical context. Oftentimes, morphine is depicted in World War II media, such as in Band of Brothers and Saving Private Ryan. It can also frequently be found in the noir genre. Movies like A Hatful of Rain and the video game L.A. Noire prominently feature morphine in their plot. When depicted in media, morphine is often portrayed as an immediate pain reliever. This is not the case all the time, as it takes a few minutes for it to usually start working. Also, when injecting morphine, medics are often seen as stabbing the patient's leg, for instance. The correct way, while less dramatic, is to insert the needle into the skin at an angle. Also, the main focus is usually on addiction, which is accurate as hundreds of thousands of soldiers became addicted to morphine.
Hi, I'm May, and my topic is heroin. Heroin is a highly abused, illegal narcotic analgesic or painkiller. It's synthesized from morphine through acetylation and produces effects similar to opium, making it an opioid. It was produced commercially by Bayer Pharmaceutical as a hopeful, non-addictive alternative to morphine, as morphine was widely abused at the time, but has since been known to be very, very addictive, and as such has been made illegal in several countries worldwide. Today, most heroin in the U.S. comes from Southeast and Southwest Asia, South America, and Mexico. Heroin can appear in different forms depending on its origin and processing techniques. Its two most common forms are powder and a sticky, more solid substance. This is known as black tar heroin due to its appearance. In the brain, heroin behaves and functions like a more intense version of endorphins, causing the huge rush of euphoria its users can experience. This rush hooks its users, and heroin addiction soon leads to tolerance, as addicts self-dose with more and more of the drug to try to achieve that same big high. Tolerance can lead to overdose, and heroin abuse can cause a number of serious health issues, ranging from vein damage and heart infections to HIV/AIDS contraction. Heroin has been a fixation of pop culture since the latter half of the 20th century. Multiple films have been made involving the drug or centered around heroin addicts, including Requiem for a Dream, Trainspotting, The Basketball Diaries, and the based on a true story Sid and Nancy. The heroin chic fashion trend of the 1990s, based on the gaunt, blank faces and typically whittled thin bodies of heroin addicts, reinforced heroin's place in the pop culture pantheon, with supermodel Kate Moss, pictured here, serving as the aesthetic's figurehead. Musicians have also written about their own experiences with the drug. A notable example of this is the autobiographical song Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. To illustrate the examples of heroin in film found on the previous slide, here are stills from Requiem for a Dream, Trainspotting, The Basketball Diaries, and Sid and Nancy. The focus on heroin in pop culture often centers around the downward spiral of its addicted users' lives. Filmmakers, writers, and musicians alike focus more on addiction, the lives, real or fictional, of the addicted, and the psychological aspects of heroin use more than the strictly scientific aspects of the drug. In these films, addiction and a decline in quality of life are central to the plots. Lastly, beyond fiction, several celebrities have come out as former heroin users, including one of the highest paid actors in the world, Robert Downey Jr., who has made his struggle with drug addiction very public knowledge, and Keith Richards, guitarist for the Rolling Stones. Troublingly, in the non-public realm, heroin use is on the rise nationwide, with small towns, suburbs, and urban communities now being affected near equally.
Codeine is a drug used to treat mild body aches, headaches, chest pain, or coughing. It is often found in pill form with other drugs like Tylenol, but is more commonly found in prescription cough syrups with promethazine. The codeine drug mixture can easily be used to make a newly popular drink made at parties, widely known as Sizzurp, used by many teens and celebrities to get a high feeling. Sizzurp, also known as purple drink, syrup, or lean, is a party drink that is easily accessible and easily made. It's been around since the 1990s, but it went up in popularity among teens due to the recent prevalence in pop culture. The drink is either made of Mountain Dew or Sprite, mixed with the codeine-rich cough syrup, and topped off with ice or Jolly Rancher candies for color and extra sweetness. The symptoms of this drink include lightheadedness or headaches, strange thoughts, irregular heart rate, drowsiness, shaking, and balance loss. The feeling is thought of as extremely euphoric, but if too much of the drink is consumed, it can cause a lot of health problems or even death. YouTube videos on how to make the drink skyrocketed in popularity after the mention of it in pop culture came around. Many celebrities started glorifying it, like Lil Wayne. He was seen with the drink many times and actually acknowledged his use of it in some songs and interviews, calling it syrup. Far East Movement's song, Like a G6, takes high mention to the drink, and the group 3 6 Mafia wrote an entire song about the high they felt after tasting this.
Hello, my name is Aisha Grow, and I am doing my PowerPoint presentation on Oxycodone. Here's a picture of the medications. And I want to say Oxycodone is an opioid that OxyContin was derived from and was developed in Germany in 1916. It was created to be a better painkilling medication than the other opioids such as heroin, codeine, and morphine. Those were other drugs that were abused by people. OxyContin is often prescribed for cancer patients, people who have had major surgeries and other chronic debilitating pain. But over time, people started abusing the drug as well in order to get high. OxyContin has kids selling it to each other at school. Stay-at-home moms abuse it. And people even break into pharmacies and steal it. Some of the nicknames on the street for the drug can be hillbilly heroin, killers, OC, and Oxycontin. There was a narcotics bust back in 2010 of 15 people, men and women, who had been selling the drug on the street there, and they were getting between $12 and $20 for a packet. They had a nice ring. They would go to a pain clinic. They would what do you call it? They would get a prescription, and once one of the people out of the ring gets the prescription filled, then they would contact the other person and have the other person, go and pick it up, and then they would start, distributing to whoever sells it, make the money off, and then they would just split the money. Consequences for selling the prescription drug can be arrest, fines, and sometimes long-term sentences in prison. Some people in the pop culture that have been known for abusing Oxycontin or drugs and alcohol would be like Amy Winehouse. Someone even said that she died from overdoses of drugs. I'm not really sure. Allegedly, that's what someone said. Rush Limbaugh was said to have abused Oxycontin himself. There's a picture of him holding up the pills and, with a little quote at the top. You shouldn't take Oxycontin if you have severe asthma or breathing problems, a blockage in your stomach or your intestines, or you have allergies to other narcotics like morphine, Codeine, Percocet, just to name a few. Other medications, cough medicines with codeine in it. Some severe side effects to the medication can be dizziness, lightheadedness, fainting, swelling of the eyes, swelling of the tongue, swelling of the throat, rash and hives, seizures, respiratory complications, different things like that. So if you're taking the medications and you're having these side effects, you should definitely stop taking it and consult with a doctor. Thank you. This is the end of my presentation.